New construction guide to buying in Colorado. I promise every minute is worth listening to. Hello friends, this is Dan Max at eXp Realty, and this is the complete guide to buying a new home in Colorado. I am personally going through the process right now of buying a new home in my neighborhood, and I figured I would do a quick-ish video on some of the things that you need to check for, and also just a checklist. So if anyone ever has any questions after watching this video and they would like, I can email them a copy of this checklist. And if you like the content, please subscribe. There's lots of market, stock market, real estate advice, all sorts of great content on my channel. So let's get into it. Hopefully this complete guide to buying a new home in Colorado makes sense. So one of the things that's interesting about Colorado is that we allow real estate agents to practice law. So there's usually standardized contracts in most situations. However, there's exceptions. The builders have their own contracts. So that's where it gets a little confusing in Colorado at times. And so you have to know the checklist because you're not protected the same as a consumer in Colorado with a traditional purchase. I hope that makes sense. Again, the home builders have their own contracts they can use. So they are the exception. And so let's jump into it. Here's my information if you ever need to get a hold of me. So in Colorado, the housing deficits and the task of finding an available home to buy are daunting. The deficit has caused a surge in the design and building of new homes, but buying a newly constructed home from a builder can be a disadvantage to a buyer versus an available resale home in the MLS. Builder contracts are complicated and designed to give the builder a greater advantage. Like I was talking about, while you're contemplating shopping for a brand new home, it is ideal to seek a real estate agent's service, especially one who's knowledgeable enough to simplify the builder's contract for you. When you find a new neighborhood, the builder salesperson is present to show you around and will persuade you to purchase. The salesperson represents the interest of the builder by helping maximize profits at your detriment. For this reason, again, caution, if you are going to look at a new home in Colorado, please have an agent represent you because they will look out for your best interests. The agents at all of these new home builders are great people. They're not looking to take advantage of people, but just be aware the home builder contract is in their favor. So if you have no one legally representing you, then you have to do all your own due diligence, and you're going to have to do this on your own. And guess what? If you don't read the contracts carefully and know what you're getting into, here are some of the things that you must know prior to shopping for a new home. You got to fill in the builder's registration form. Make sure you do that. If you're going to go into a new build, make sure you have a card of your agent if you're going by yourself, or have your agent come with you. Because if you don't fill out the builder's registration form with your real estate agent representing you, they will not be involved in the transaction. Now, they could advise you for free, but again, they're not part of the contract. They won't be there to represent you. They will not be, your advocate like they would if they were actually on the contract representing you. And again, they're not on the contract per se, but they're involved in the contract because you're going to want that buyer's agent's representation. Know that the builders have their own contracts, as we said. Be aware of the price bargains, inclusions, and incentives, and think of like price bargaining. If you end up buying more than one unit, they might be able to give you deals. Inclusions really depends on what's involved with the process, like what kind of things specifically in the home are they giving you? Are they giving you certain packages on a look and a style, for example, like certain cabinet colors with certain flooring, with certain tile. Those are the inclusions. And then incentives. There might be incentives to use a particular lender. Say they have a lender that they prefer. They might be able to give you, 1%, $5,000. Who knows how much to the closing costs. So always ask about that. Just be aware, again, the builder's policies and contingencies. Usually they have 2 years to finish the build out completely, but they might have escalation clauses if costs go up. They might have all sorts of things in there that could put you at a position to force you to have to sell your home to buy this house. And they might tell you need to sell the house and put it on the market 45 days before the close, which seems reasonable. But imagine if you put your house on the MLS 45 days and it sells in the first weekend, and all of a sudden you're under contract to sell your house. You have so much time to rent back the house. And then what happens if the builder delays 3 months? Where are you going to live? So you got to know their policies and contingencies. Good friend of mine, Cody Walker, is dealing with this with one of his clients. They put their home up for sale, and it sold so quickly. And the builder required 45 days. You have to put your house on the market before. Boom, sold. They're now living in a. I think they're renting from someone else, so they're gonna have to move multiple times. It can be very complicated. So again, hope this video makes sense and helps people. Know the base price versus the completed price. Again, the base price is what they just, those will be what the signs say the property costs. But the completed price is what it really costs with all the packages and all the upgrades, all the additions, all the things you're going to do. Be aware of the soil surveys, the engineered reports, the water table. Like, they're going to give you all this stuff. They're going to, they have to follow certain requirements from the state and the city about soil, engineering, all that stuff. Be aware of your, maximizing a limited budget, because keep in mind, if they have escalation clauses or things change in your life, do not go in being stretched buying a new build, because you might end up wanting to purchase more things from them. You might want certain upgrades. Maybe they offer you a finished basement at a discount. Maybe they say they'll finish the basement for $35,000. Yet in your mind, hey, if I try to do it myself, it might be $50,000 if I try to contract someone. So keep in mind, have some money to wiggle with. Be aware of the process, the quality, and the defects. Every home builder is different. All of them have different quality controls. Check their Google ratings. If you can, when you talk to your agent, ask them, what do you know about this specific builder? How have past clients handled it? How have they, are they happy with the build? Do they have the 1-year warranties usually, and the multi-year warranties on certain things? Have the builders, followed through, or their word's been good? So here again, deposits and money. You're going to have to put down earnest money. There's going to be rules about it, what you can do to get out. Usually, at worst, the first 3 days, the CCRs, the covenants and restrictions, you usually can get out in 3 days if you don't like something about the HOA and the rules for their all their covenants. But hey, that's 3 days, which you could get out if all of a sudden you decide you don't like to purchase the property after depositing your earnest money. Just be aware of all the dates and the repercussions. Again, the dates matter, because they might be hard to really lock down with all of the issues going on in the economy. There are tons of back orders in materials. I have clients who have material orders like backup on windows, and cabinets. They won't finish the build until all the windows are in. Well, imagine if all of a sudden you order 30 windows, the builder gets them, and one is not done. It can back up the whole process. They might not be able to move forward. Imagine if it's the cabinets, you're near the end. They won't let you move in if there's cabinets not, if everything is not installed up to a certain specifications. Now again, every builder is different. They'll let you know what you need to do to close, but be aware if there's backlog, shortages in supplies, how is that going to affect the timelines? Like, you just have to be very aware of that. So here's the critical questions you must ask before signing a builder's contract. What lot are you getting? What are the structural upgrades? Does it have a basement, finished, unfinished? How's the electrical, the voltage? Are you going to have 220s in the garage? You're going to have certain higher voltage and electrical panels. Is it going to be inside in the garage? You're going to have places for, say, you want to put a heater in the garage. So you want to put a hot tub outside. I mean, you want to know where everything is going to be located. You want to know what the flooring material is going to be. Is it going to be LVP? Is it going to be laminate? Is it going to be engineered hardwoods? These times, things have changed. And you're also going to want to know the thickness of some of the materials. Like what is the quality? Who are they buying from? Be aware of, as we talked about, the builder incentives. Who's going to get the mortgage. Be aware of the property tax in the metro districts. You might only get taxed on the land for the first year, and then the next year the property taxes go up because now the construction is done. Be aware your property taxes could fluctuate widely based on that, whether you're getting just taxed on the land for the first year. Contracts, deadlines, again, know them. Your warranties, know what your warranties are. Most builders do kind of a blanket 1-year warranty on everything, 2 years mechanical, then anywhere from 10, 15 structural. There's many different warranties, so make sure you know what's going on with that. And then the earnest money deposit, again, always know the rules on this, because if you're dropping down $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, you want to know what you're getting into before you sign it. Again, here we go, talking about the builder's registration form. They're going to want to fill it out without the agent, because then they'll usually collect they'll keep the commission in-house, and the builder will, have a fatter margin. You can read through this. We'll talk about this, but roughly 3%. Some now are just doing flat fees. So Just be aware, and also know the contracts you have with your agent. Maybe they are expected to get paid 3%. If you have an agent who's expecting that and the builder's only paying out 2.5, you might have to pay the difference out of your pocket at close. So just be aware. Let's read this together, just make sure there's anything. Nope, nothing. Again, builders' contracts, they're very, in Colorado, we're very buyer friendly, but just be aware that the builders, they have a degree of liberty to change the terms in the contract, and are very much in favor of the builder and not the buyer. That's the most important part of this. Keep that in mind. The contracts are drafted, is crafted, made to convince the buyer to forfeit their deposit if a deal fails to close. Be aware. Don't let the deal close or get out, or know what reasons you could get out. Like, ask those questions. Know for a fact, like, hey, if I lose my job, is that something that will allow me to get out the earnest money? If your financial situation changes, or a parent, friend, someone passes away and you got to move, job changes, you got to know what's going on in the contract. There's a lot to know here, and I apologize if this video ends up being way longer than it should, but there's a lot to know here, and you're going to get the answers here without having to Google it all. Again, be aware. Well-versed agent will know what's going on, know the deadlines, know what you need to do, because you're going to have to come in and check things. They're going to continuously update you. They're going to tell you where they're at in the process. The good builders should, and you're always going to be, updated. And so you need to know that you can follow through with what they want, because ultimately it's not about what you want. If you delay the process, they will try to get out of the build. It's kind of sad, because if they delay the process, there's no penalties. If you delay the process, they will take your earnest money. Always negotiate. There's always a negotiation, unless it's be aware, some builders offer auction style on their open inventory. Some will just have a fixed price and it's first come, first serve. My last deal was first come, first serve. You had to be there to offer to get the offer, because if not, there was 12 other people who had appointments to talk about it, and the first person got it. So if you have a good agent who's hunting for those specific areas and deals in that builder, you can create contacts with the builders, and they can give you a heads up on what's going on, because if they can sell it quickly and put it under contract and get that earnest money and start building, they love the certainty of that. So again, just reading through this, be aware of all this. Again, we talked about if you have a house to sell, they'll put it on the list. They're going to make you want to do things. There's going to be certain disadvantages you might be at in this hot of a market. Know the builder base price. As it says, they're not often as they appear. Sometimes people come in, you see the sign, is like, oh, this house is starting in the 500s. You get in the office and it's like, wham, 600 just to start. And it's like, oh, well, we raised our prices. Oh, we have all these added packages of this property, or this is a spec property. We're only doing this. Like, it's kind of a big deal that you're going to be struggling to know what's going on if you don't have your agent with you, because they will literally spin you around on your head offering certain things, and just, you got to know what you're getting into. You got to know what you're signing. Again, this is all the stuff up above that we talked about: construction process, defects, new construction, earnest money, interest rates during the deposits. You got to know all that. Be aware that the interest rates during construction, if the rates go up, and you're just, again, as I said at the very beginning, make sure you have a degree of room and flexibility with your build, because if the rates go up and all of a sudden you can't afford the house, you're going to be, it's going to be a little harder to get out. So here we go. Hiring experienced agent. According, 90% of the homes are sold by just 10% of the top agents. That's a fact. Call someone like myself. Let me refer you to someone. Do not go blindly into this and just open up, your phone and say, hey, do you know anyone who knows an agent? Because not every agent's good. Like, talk to other agents. Get on Google My Business. Google. Do some research. It's like doctors. It's like every profession. Not every agent is the same. So here we go. Here's some questions you must ask. Must ask before signing a builder contract. You want the soil survey and test. You want to know what the lot premium is, because every lot has a different price. Ones with views will have better, more higher premiums. What's the plan for the basement? Are they going to finish it out? Well, if they don't finish it out, are they possibly going to, leave it studded, or are they going to actually, add insulation? Are they going to wrap it? Are they going to finish the ceilings? What are they going to do? I mean, these are questions you need to know. Again, what are the options for the floor plans? Is there a lot in the main entrance of the street? All this stuff. We can pop through this. Will a lot have a house behind it? The orientation, how close to a train track, position, location, the subdivision, what's the topography of the land, like proposed drainage. Is there a lot close to any body of water, the golf course? All these little things. Metro districts. Again, we talked about them. We're going through them. Here we go, getting into the structural upgrades. Every house is different. Be aware the cost of things because they can change from the types of siding. You go from brick, stucco, synthetic, vinyl. All these are priced differently. Now, personally, I would stay away from vinyl siding and some of the cheaper stuff because it's protecting your house. But that's another video. Again, what type of roof is it going to be? Composite, steel, Spanish tiles. Here you go. What are the warranties for the roof? Is it going to have a solar panel? What happens if you sell it? What happens if you're renting and what is ultimately not renting? What is ultimately if the price going to be per month with this solar system? Like, how much are you actually saving? Like, do they guarantee that it's only going to cost you so much to heat the home? Because that's what they did in my most recent new build. They said, hey, if your bill's over this price, we'll reimburse you. They're guaranteeing certain energy efficiencies, and then they'll take care of that again. To what degree the interior of the garage will be finished. Now, here's another question. What part of the garage will be finished? Are they going to only do the main part of the house structural, or are they going to finish out the garage sides? Are they going to insulate the garage in general? These are questions you have to know because they might not. And you get your house and you're wondering, like, why the hell is our garage always so cold? Well, it's like, they didn't insulate it. They didn't put anything up to make it insulated. So why would you, if you didn't ask that question, you just got to the close and you're getting to the build and they're not going to change it. That's the thing you have to realize. Like, once you sign it, the odds of them changing anything in this contract is almost nothing. Zero. They're not going to do it. They don't want to change things because they have their costs lined up. They buy things, they order things, they source inventory as it's starting. And so they can't change it because they can't just put it in another home. Maybe some can, maybe some won't, but most won't. So, again, type of basement. What are the window wells, corrugated steel or concrete? Does the builder finish? All these questions are great to ask. Just keep in mind, I'm kind of slowly going through so you can read it. Again, what's the warranty on cracks on the floors in the garage? And if you have an unfinished basement, do you sub pump? Radon mitigation? What's the electrical throughout the house? Are you going to have ceiling fan and a wall switch in every room? Are you going to have that easy off light, night light, nightstand lamp appliances? Are you going to have certain laundry rooms to be fitted with the correct, you would assume they'd have a 220 outlet, but in these days and age, but you never know. They could cut corners. Every builder's a little different. Are they is it a smart home? Here's another question. It's all sorts of things. Builder pre-wire for the higher home for the internet. There's a ton of things here. You can have actually landlines. Are they going to have coaxial? Are you going to be able to also have sound system? Keep in mind, are they going to pre-wire the house so they can be fed for the cable companies? Say they only run one cable and that's owned by, say, Xfinity. Will they have the ability, say, another company have the ability to run that existing wire, or is it going to be buried? These are all questions that can come up. Again, flooring, what are you going to use? Engineered, synthetic laminate, how thick is it? How durable is it? How have the neighbors liked it? Again, here we go in the builder incentives. I hope people are reading as I talk. It's not too distracting, but there's a lot of stuff here, and just be aware that the taxes, the builder incentives, the deadlines, read through this. And again, if you have any questions, just email me and I will email you this whole package to look over, and you can ask questions and I'll give you the best advice I can. Again, if I can represent you, that'd be even better, or if not, I can find someone else to. But just be aware, again, the builder, does they provide an initial rescission period? Most of them have to do 3 days because of the covenants and restrictions, the CCRs as they call it. And that's about it. There's a lot of questions here that you have to kind of ask and know in your mind. And that's the hardest thing, is when you go in to buy a new home and you are, say, a little more naive to the process, you don't know the questions you need to ask. And if you don't know the questions you need to ask, you're going to just default to whatever they put in the contract. And so if there's ever any question about an escalation clause, what happens if it's not, ready on time? What if they give you a hard time and it's delayed? What do you have to do about your house selling if you're going to buy this? There is a lot of questions. So as much as they want to push people in to do a deal, this is where you have a real estate agent who's willing to ask the questions for you and represent you to make sure that you don't get left in a position where this new build you buy ends up being a disaster and not a dream. All right, this is Dan Max at eXp Realty. I hope this helped. Again, hit me up. Here are my information at the bottom. If you need anything, email me. I'll send you this packet. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate. I hope everyone has happy holidays and talk to you guys soon.